But really, this week, the floor leader, it's the session's kind of in your hands, right?
Yeah, I think we're down to the last week, and we got all the bills lined up, and we'll just see what we can get done.
So, walk me through how the House does this. A lot of folks, even that watch this program, there's a detail here. So you start off. If there's a Senate bill over in the House now, you can take it up and pass it, send it to the governor. You can amend it and send it back. Now, when is a conference committee no longer possible? There's a day this week you can't go to conference, right?
Yeah, and something that's funny about this session is we haven't had any conference committees yet. So I think this session may be the one session we don't do any. But the Senate will send us their bills, and then we decide whether we want to amend them and send them back, which we can do, or just pass it as they send it to us, that's no fun. So we like to put our things on it and send it back. And then if they can pass that, or if they feel like they want to make some changes, we can go to a conference.
They've been passing some of yours.
Yeah, they have.
I mean, they've just been taking up. Yeah. I mean, I think they all know there's a time essence here. But isn't there a day in this calendar where it does no longer good to amend a Senate bill and you can't really go to conference? What is that? What's the real calendar for that?
I think we can do it up to the last minute. So there's really, I don't want to say there's any time that we can't do it because we can, but we just have to have our first one this session. And you're right. Senator O'Loughlin last week was great to work with. Her chief of staff, Drew. And then I can't say enough about the pro tem over there and his staff over there. I think we had a great week last week. And
you really did, but objectively, not a great week for the situation, whatever. Objectively, you got several. Now, if your definition of good is getting a lot of things done, the process of government moved last week.
Yeah, and I told Drew and Senator O'Loughlin and Senator Rowden, just thank you for what you guys did last week. We really appreciate it. We're going to pass some of the Senate bills that they sent us. And I think when we look back at the end of session, there's going to be a handful of House bills, handful of Senate bills. We got the budget done. We got the FRA done. I think it'll be a successful session.
You have been here. This is your sixth session, right? You have seen the House get rolled in the budget process 5 times. You reasserted yourself this time. It had to take away the policy or whatever. I mean, to get where you are in this position, there's some competitive fire. I've never seen one of you guys didn't have some the competitive type A about you. It had to feel good for your chamber to say, no. I think it's wrong to even say this was like a 50-50 deal. No, you rolled them. You had if you're the House, you want to have a significant part in that process, and you did. It had to feel good.
Well, I don't see it that way necessarily. I think Missouri won last week. The way the process played out, I think the House had its say. The Senate had theirs. Maybe we got a bit more of our position.
Your caucus had to have a better vibe than normal about the budget this year. If they did, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, we did. We had a caucus yesterday, and Cody Smith did a great job.
Exactly.
And Lincoln did as well.
I have always thought Cody Smith, I don't know him that well, but I always thought honest guy, professional guy, nice guy, someone that if you dealt with him in a different walk of life and business or something, you'd want to work with Cody Smith.
Yeah.
And it is kind of nice to see a good guy have a good day.
Yeah, I got to see a side of Cody I've never seen before last week, and I think he would make a great surgeon because whatever was going on, he was just, steady, calm. I know he was really tired at times,
I'm sure.
And he was just, grace under pressure doing that last week, and Lincoln was as well. I think we had a good week last week.
Lincoln's had a few good days in the Appropriates Committee. I just thought there's a piece of it that's nice to see a guy that's a good dude come in and have a good day. His last budget he's going to put together.
Yeah.
It was kind of neat.
Yeah.
Looking forward here. Give me something that you'd like to see happen that's on the cusp and you don't know. And
I think one of the things that we're seeing is we are going to get the FRA done. I think if at the beginning of the year you said we're going to have a clean FRA, we're going to have it for 5 years, so we don't have to worry about it every cycle. I would have been thrilled. So I think you'll see us. We're going to take that up tomorrow, and that's something that I think we're going to get done.
So it's interesting. What is it like over in your office? I mean, right now, Senator Rizzo was texting me about movies. I think I forget which one he was. Him and Lauren are doing movie night.
Oh,
he texted me about Blazing Saddles. He didn't get to Blazing Saddles, but I have a feeling he's going to get a chance of that later in the day. What's it like in your office when the Senate's filibustering? Obviously, You have plenty of stuff to go to that microphone. You could
Yeah.
sit in that chair next week and tout off a hell of a bunch of wins.
Yeah.
You really have a good session. I don't say in the barn, but between the bills you could just pass and the bills that are already on the governor's desk and the budget and everything, you could absolutely look anybody in the eye and say, I had a great session. I'm excited to go into next year. But what's it like to sit in your office and watch the Senate filibustering and you're like, well, hell, guys, are you going to get, I'd like some back and forth here. I'd like some movement. What's it like in your office, listener? Are they still going?
I think they're going I've listened in on some of it. I enjoyed this morning hearing about Senator Rizzo's kid and how he calls it a ghostbuster instead of a filibuster. I can see my kids doing that when they were little. You're just kind of waiting to see what the Senate does at this point, because if they're going to do this for the rest of session, then, we have the bills we can take up and pass. But at some point, I would like it to break, and then we could have that dialogue, maybe even have conference committees and get some really good bills done.
So do you have somebody over there? I mean, when you come off the floor, do you ask, are they still going? What's up? I mean, how cognizant is your staff to keep you updated on what they're doing over there?
It's constant texting.
Yeah.
It's texting the senators over there. I remember texting one senator last night. So do you guys have a plan? And we'll just see how it goes.
Let me ask you this. Put your brain on this. So you're Cindy O'Loughlin. The only reason there's a hospital in Kirksville or Hannibal this time next year is because of J.J. Rizzo. Without Rizzo, there is no hospital in Hannibal. Her colleagues would have put her hospitals out, would have ended them.
Yeah.
Rizzo comes in, gives her the votes. The state budget passes. The House state budget passes because of Rizzo's votes.
Yeah.
Now you come in here at the end. There's an FRA. You could send a clean one over in 20 minutes to you guys to take up and pass or to not. You in the ballot candy, which to me is so funny. I remember when you first got into politics, you got in after the Clean Missouri thing had happened. But I watched every Republican talk about how shady it was to add all this extra stuff.
Yeah.
Now they're like, oh, add all the extra stuff. I get hypocrisy. I get it. If you were giving her advice, would you screw Rizzo, who has just bailed you out over something that, honestly, does anybody in Shelbyville know what the hell this is?
Yeah. One thing I avoid in Jeff City is giving advice to senators. So I'll just let her do her work and we'll see how
I would say as a leader, you could appreciate the challenge.
Oh, absolutely. That's
how far do you go on this? Where do you go on this? I have, my heart goes out to her just as a person in government. That's a tough situation.
Yeah. It's a 34-piece puzzle.
Yeah.
And the puzzle pieces keep changing. What I would like to see is I'd like to see them get it done, because I think it'll be back next year. We've worked so hard on it. It's come this far. I'd like to just get it done, let the people have their say.
Can you go back to Lee's Summit Friday evening if the folks just have a clean IP reform bill to vote on? I mean, are you going to shed any tears?
If they have it, no, I think I'd be fine with it. I just explained to my voters and my constituents why I didn't agree with it.
But do you believe it should be a little harder to amend the Constitution?
I do, which is why I've voted for it every year since I've been here. The constitutions are founding documents. It should have a higher threshold. It should be an extra majority to pass it, just so that it reflects, consensus and compromise. The way we do it now, I think, is a little too low. Which is why I think 57, 55%.
A little too low. Yeah, a little too low.
Yeah, to change the Constitution.
Yeah, don't make it impossible. That's not real. Yeah. But it's a little too easy now. Yeah. And I, they'll be ahead. The Democrats are in charge, and they'll probably switch, and all of a sudden they'll feel the same way. But does your caucus just have to have the extra stuff in it? I mean, or can you live with just a straight asking the people of Missouri a straight show me Midwesterner discussion? Yeah. Should we do this or not? Will your caucus be happy with that?
I think we had that discussion, and the general consensus was that we'd like that extra language.
What if you can't get it? You take the deal if they just can't get that through. Yeah. Do you take the deal?
I think that'd be a discussion that we'd have to have and see what we want to do. And I don't know the answer to that, actually.
I have always felt like from the beginning, some of the folks talking about this the loudest really don't want to see this happen. There's a little bit of kabuki theater about this whole IP thing, I've noticed. Maybe that's true with everything, but in this more than most, that I'm not sure some of the folks carping the loudest for this really want to see this go to the ballot in 24.
I think all the representatives and senators are very sincere in their thoughts on this and just trying to do the best they can.
Speaking of a lack of sincerity, I like it. So you enjoying it?
I am. I told my the Republican conference yesterday I haven't enjoyed every minute of it, but I've loved every day of it. And it really is fun to get up and try to do what you can for your members, and I think I've done that. It's been fun.
You excited to move down the hall?
I am. I think Alex Riley is going to be the guy, and so working with him, working with our members, we have got a lot of exciting new members coming in. I told my members yesterday I can't wait for 2025.
It really does. The House, if the top two, you throw that budget chair in there, but really the top two, if the top two are on the same page and have a good working relationship, the House is very formidable because I think the rest of the members see those relationships as sturdy, and it's much more of a team. If you have two different power centers, I think the members can then gravitate and it gets a little disjointed. Yeah. And the House is meant to be working together and there's some ebb and flow to it. I would say you and Alex Riley might start off closer, better friends, more working relationship than anybody I've seen since, I don't want to say Rod and Catherine. I'm sure there have been others. Yeah. But Sirpoy and Todd probably for sure. I mean, you start off, seems like you guys really get along and are going to put together a pretty solid united front.
I think so. And I think when the leadership's together, when the House is together, it is really formidable. And so I'm excited about what we're going to do next year.
And that Alex Riley, I just got to know him. Sharp guy. You're talking about a smart dude. The dude is smart.
I think the term is brainy. You got to always say brainy when you say Alex.
So. Well, it's easy for the surgeon to say brainy.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's a brainy guy.
We say smart some bitch,
Yeah.
So tell me about the campaigns. You got a headwind coming this time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just bare bones. Number one, you've won so many damn seats. You're overextended. What makes sense? Yeah. And two, I mean, look, the abortion thing, I'm sure my DMs will start lighting up. Yeah. The fact is, whether I think it's a little too much, you think it's a little too much, in other states, folks have thought the Republicans went a little too far. Yeah. They just have.
Yeah.
And so tell me how going forward, break down for me how, when you look at the next chapter, how does that affect your House race? Is this going to affect where you spend money? Is it going to, Kelton, I don't know if that just got excited or very unexcited by this conversation. Tell me going forward, does that affect where you spend money? I mean, look, in your neck of the woods, they are not probably happy with Missouri's existing abortion laws.
Yeah, I think it'll be tough for a number of reasons this year. I think the main thing is we've had so much and we've done so well for so long that there's just going to be a natural shift. Maybe abortion hurts us in some districts. Maybe it doesn't. But the thing that I think is going to keep us doing well is Hannah Beer Sutton.
Impressive.
The new HRCC that we've put together. I've talked with so many people who think it's doing well. I think they're the ones that are going to really show up this summer, and I think we're going to still have a good cycle.
You got some good recruits. I've noticed there's some good folks. Not just open seats, but I've seen a few seats where you're going to give some Democrats a run. Yeah. Down in Springfield, you got a pretty good recruit. I've just noticed the recruits are pretty solid, and I've done that myself once, and it's always hit and miss. Did you really work them, or did they just want to run? It's an interesting mix of that cocktail, but however it comes, I think you can feel pretty good about your class of recruits you got going in the field.
I'm very excited about it. I don't want to mention anybody's name because then I'll forget someone, but up in Northwest Missouri, we got good, and then candidates, and then down in Springfield, some in the St. Louis area. So I think we're going to do well.
It feels like you've got your members understand the urgency. They understand that this is not going to be like every other cycle. This is going to be tougher, and they're kicking in. Yeah, I mean, I've noticed it. That's got to be a little bit you and Alex though. I want to play. I'll invest in that team.
Yeah, I think we're doing well in terms of fundraising. Our membership has really stepped up.
Yeah, it's the way it's got to be, right?
Yeah,
you can only do so much. Touching people, only so many hours in the day.
Yeah, and they know how important it is, and I think we're going to have the funds to go out there and run great campaigns and get our current members back, and then add to that.
So when you run that, do you view that your role is you got to sit on the phone and call for money? Do you go check on the campaigns yourself? Do you go do the fun? I mean, I would assume if you're running for office and you're running in a contested seat, having you come down is worth another 20% on whatever you're going to raise. Is that what you spend your time doing? Do you do all? What is your summer look
all
like?
The above. A lot of driving, a lot of flying. I love going into people's districts and having lunch with them in a spot in their district that they like.
It's a wonderful state, ain't it?
It is. It's a great state. I've been to every corner of the state.
And it's so different. There's probably 6 Missouris in Missouri. I mean, Kansas City is its own unique positive, Western-looking, happy people. St. Louis is those dour East Coast some bitches that are always complaining. And just the central part of the state, the old Catholics, they don't wear their money or drive their money. They're conservative on every front.
Yeah.
North Missouri, that there is a distinct difference, not as Catholic.
There is.
But farming, and it's a lot of different.
See the
corn
windmills
crop
up there.
Yeah.
I mean, I never get upset having to drive 6 hours to New Madrid and to have eat at Tasters down there, or go to Dexter Barbecue, or go down to Springfield.
We got to give Sarah Martin a shout out for strawberries. She's a big strawberries fan down the Boot Hill.
Oh, really? Okay. And watermelon.
But we sent you a good one, didn't we? Cameron Parker.
Yeah, she's been a superstar, and I can't wait to see what she does next.
When I met her, I'm like, "You're sure you're from the Boot Hill? You're sure you're from where we are?" She's good.
She's great.
Tell me about the Senate this week, or the House today. What are you going to do?
We're going to work on a couple of Senate bills, maybe amend them and send them back. Like I said, we'll do the FRA tomorrow. And then we have some House bills that I think we can do later in the week. One of the important ones, I think, is the eviction moratorium prohibition. Yeah. And then we added some property rights for homeowners on that. I think that'll be good. And then we'll just see what comes back from the Senate.
There's a point where, at what point do you start to get worried they're not going to move off IP? Is it probably not today?
Not today.
Is it tomorrow night when you start having dinner? If they're still not moved off, they start to get a little worried.
Yeah,
that's what I would think too.
I think tomorrow night. I'm a little curious. Are they going to try to set the record for the longest filibuster?
So you know what I really think?
What do you think?
Just us here talking hogs, dogs, and logs. I think that the Senate leadership would like to give the Democrats a chance to beat whatever record Eichel did, just at a sheer Schadenfreude.
Yeah.
Just the book. I think the Senate is rife with, as we Germans say, Schadenfreude.
Yep.
I actually own the book on Schadenfreude. I get a sense that they're okay doing it, and the problem you have, I think, is quorum calls. I think you've got about half a dozen senators that are for IP reform.
Yeah.
Whether you do it with a bunch of distractions in it or whether you do it straight up, they probably don't really care.
Yeah.
But after the way they've been treated for 6 years by Bill, whatever he's for, they'd be against. So they're not that big on doing quorum calls to help him.
Yeah.
And I think that's really where it starts to come down is, will people really interrupt their dinner tomorrow night for something that they're not really committed to, they don't think really matters, and they like the people who are pushing the hardest for it. I think that you'll get through today. Tonight it'll get a little chippy, but by tomorrow I think you're going to have a hard time getting a quorum. Now they'll be there when they go into the chamber.
Yeah.
You ever look across the Senate and think, I might like to do that?
I don't really. It doesn't seem all that great.
All right, look, can we make an announcement real quick?
Yeah.
So every year we do a roast.
Okay.
Last year we did Haux at Night. We've done Lincoln. We've done Rizzo. We've done Caleb Rowden.
Yeah.
This year you are going to let us roast you this fall, the Monday before veto session.
Okay.
We always have a good time. Unless we were too rowdy last year at the Soybean Association.
Yeah.
It's the night before veto session. It will be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Can we announce a couple folks that are going to roast?
Sure. Yeah.
Cindy O'Laughlin.
Okay.
I'm just going to tell you, even if Cindy's not funny, she will be so not funny. It will go all the way around the world to hilarious.
Yeah.
And she is funny. And it'll be good she didn't write the jokes. If she just goes up there and talks, she'll just crack me up. It'll be great. Mary Elizabeth Coleman.
All right.
Who I think she'll be funny. I think she's one of those people that when the camera's on, she'll do well. But I think the best jokes will be the jokes everybody else makes about her.
Yeah.
I just think she's a target-rich environment.
Yeah.
And then we'll announce some more throughout the summer.
Okay, great.
You got anybody that really
all for a good cause? Well, I think Carrie Ingalls said she was going to.
Carrie would be great.
Yeah.
Carrie would be. She did it last year, kind of on the fly. But I think being a Jackson County, that's good and funny. Plus, again, Carrie's great to make fun of.
Yeah.
So it cuts both ways.
Yeah.
We'll do six. Six good.
Okay.
5, 6, something like that.
I think Bishop Davidson would be good.
Chad
Perkins.
I bet Bishop Davidson is. I see him as the dude that you're not going to see coming being super funny.
Yeah.
But is going to be super funny.
Yeah.
I bet you if he takes a minute and prepares and gets it organized, which I assume if he's going to do it, he will.
Yeah.
I bet Bishop Davidson is like the underrated star of it. I mean, because I can see him being the sleeper pick for the funniest.
Yeah. And then I get to roast as well too, right?
Oh, that's always at the end.
Okay.
That is you get to come out and give back to everybody. Well, I appreciate you doing it. We will have a good time. Good luck the next couple days here in session. Something tells me this will find a path through sometime late tonight or tomorrow midday.
I think we will.
And I actually think they're going to do legislation after it's over.
I hope so.
I think there's going to be I don't want to say normal, but a more normalized last couple days. If I had to pick my side of knowledge, I'm dangerous because I feel naked without it. But something tells me there could be a more normal set of negotiations for you to do.
Yeah. That's my hope.
Here. But
we'll see.
Representative, thank you so much. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, Scott.
We'll be back tomorrow with John Combest of JohnCombest.com fame, of the BJ Show fame, and Brad Hildebrand. Tomorrow, I think about 1 o'clock. So sometime right after lunch, join us. We'll have the one and only John Combest in here. And then we'll see you Sunday.